Hey folks, this is Kelani. With the PTR well underway for patch 7.3.2, you can't help but wonder when it will go live and subsequently when we'll finally have access to the Antorus raid. A few guesstimations are being thrown about here, there and everywhere, but it's something that keeps coming up for one reason or another. I know in my guild alone we've had plenty of discussions and arguments about whether or not Antorus will be delayed and why it might not be coming anytime soon, or how it might come earlier than we thought and blow us all away. So let's have a look at the expansion as a whole and how things have unravelled so far, and where that information might place the release of Antorus the Burning Throne. The first thing that always comes up when we talk patch and raid release dates is the 77-day rule. If you weren't aware, it seems like the dev team has been keeping to a set schedule to release patches in Legion. For quite a while now, each patch has been 77 days or 11 weeks apart. The only exceptions to this are right at the start of the expansion, but that's probably because most of it was already set in place and ready to go. It's worth noting that whenever a patch has deviated from the 11 weeks rule, it's always been sooner and not later. Now, Legion is the first expansion where raids haven't been tied strictly to new patch releases. We've been told several times now that if features of a patch are not ready to ship, then they just won't be included in the patch. The patch will still go live regardless, and the missing features will be added in at a later date. This also holds true of the raid encounters. The raids themselves are ready to go, they just need to be unlocked. That means that even if a patch does somehow get delayed, for whatever reason, the raid itself might still launch on schedule. So I think it's better to look at the dates where raids released instead of just focusing on patches. So we've had 4 raid zones in total. We started with the Emerald Nightmare, which released shortly after the launch of Legion, then the Trial of Valor released just 10 weeks after release, only 7 weeks after the Emerald Nightmare opened up. Now the Trial of Valor wasn't a full raid, it was only 3 bosses, but the mythic difficulty did cause a lot of problems for raiding guilds that managed to clear all of the Emerald Nightmare on mythic. Helya was a piece of work for sure, and a lot of guilds didn't manage to get her down until the last round of hefty nerfs, which is very typical for mythic bosses when we're leading up to the next raid, which is very important, and we'll talk about this more in a second. The Nighthold released 11 weeks after the Trial of Valor, which is where our 11-week schedule seems to start. Nighthold went on for 2 patch cycles, so 22 weeks, before the Tomb of Sargeras released. That 22-week schedule seems to be how long the dev team wants a raid tier to last. It makes a lot of sense and gives us plenty of time to get all of the bosses down. It also alternates the patches between world content and raid content. We opened up the Broken Shore and got to explore everything leading up to the Tomb of Sargeras while we were still raiding the Nighthold, and we moved into the tomb proper. After 11 weeks of that, we opened up Argus while still raiding the tomb, and then we'll move on to the next raid. It keeps the content flowing while still giving us enough time in each raid tier. This is probably the key which has allowed the dev team to continue their content cycle so reliably. If we keep to this 11-week schedule, then patch 7.3.2 should go live on November 14th, with the Antorus raid opening up a week after that on November 21st. That's also 22 weeks from the start of Tomb of Sargeras, so it fits in nicely there as well. Apparently, quite a few people believe that would be too early. Not enough people have killed Kil'jaeden on Mythic. If they release a new raid now, then we won't have anything for over a year. There's nothing after Argus, so they'll hold on to Antorus as long as they can. I don't really agree with any of this. If the dev team thinks 22 weeks is enough for Nighthold, why isn't that enough for Tomb of Sargeras? It's plenty of time for people to get through normal and heroic, and if not many guilds have killed Kil'jaeden on Mythic, then oh well. I don't think they would halt a new raid based purely on the fact that the last boss has only been killed by however many guilds. There's a reason this is on a schedule. The dev team have said again and again that they want things to move a little quicker and for there to be a little less downtime between expansions, so if they stay true to their word, which they have been so far in Legion, we haven't experienced any delays of any content that we know of, I don't think we'll be stuck with a content drought. We've been in the Tomb of Sargeras for quite a while now, and this raid hasn't exactly been gentle on Mythic guilds. It seems like every week another Mythic guild implodes on my server, which does wonders for recruitment because we're losing people about as fast as we're recruiting them, but we need a good morale injection in the form of a brand new raid to explore and plunder to get those active players' numbers back up. So let's talk about nerfs. Nerfs seem pretty important. Gul'dan was a pretty tough fight, but more guilds seem to have an easier time with the Nighthold overall than they are having with the Tomb of Sargeras. The end of tier nerfs came to Gul'dan on May 2nd. I know from my guild specifically this was the tipping point which allowed us to get our first kill and then re-kills every week after that. I'm sure it was the same for any other guild which was getting close but hadn't quite managed to kill yet, and those nerfs came 15 weeks after the Nighthold released. If you've been paying attention to hotfixes, then you'll know that Kil'jaeden just got a huge round of nerfs, which I'm sure will open the gates to any guilds which have been decently close to a kill. One of my friend's guilds had been working on KJ for quite a while now, but they were still a little ways off a kill. It wasn't like they were getting 5% wipes consistently, but they were expecting a kill relatively soon. They went in on Tuesday after the nerfs and nearly two-shot it. They only had 7 wipes total for the night, so they got their kill very quickly. These nerfs seem to be a bit more significant than the ones Gul'dan had, but what does this have to do with the release of Antorus? Well, if each raid tier is supposed to last 22 weeks like the Nighthold did, then we can consider these KJ nerfs the gate opening to give anyone who hasn't killed the last boss on Mythic a decent chance to do so before the next raid opens. It's the end of tier nerfs. These nerfs came at week 17 of Plundering the Tomb, so we're actually 2 weeks behind where Gul'dan was nerfed. Whether that's to do with how many guilds have killed the boss so far or how long they wanted to keep the boss difficult for, I cannot say, but it's safe to say that we're starting to wind down the Tomb of Sargeras in preparation of the next raid tier. Now, there's another reason why I wouldn't expect this raid to be delayed. Blizzcon is happening the first week of November, and I guarantee we won't be hearing a great deal about the Antorus raid or patch 732. We might get some info about what happens in a potential patch 735, but most of the information is probably going to be about a new expansion. We're totally wrapping up Legion sometime soon, and the Blizzcon schedule just screams new WoW expansion announcement. Not only will they want to get Antorus done and dusted sometime soon, but coming out of BlizzCon with all this information is a huge hype fest. There's no way they're going to squander that by releasing the next patch or new raid more than a month down the line. Imagine if one of the first things they say at BlizzCon is something along the lines of, the new raid Antorus, which you can play in 2 weeks. That's huge, that's hype. And on the other side of that, it would be more like, the new raid Antorus, which you still don't get to play for over a month, but we're going to skip over that anyways and talk about the next expansion. I just don't see it happening. Another curious thing that happened this week was the build change on beta servers. There's some sneaky folk out there which keep an eye on this kind of thing, or rather have a website and programs to keep an eye on this thing for them, and an 8.0 patch build went onto beta servers for a very short period of time. It was quickly reverted afterwards, but that tells us that either Blizzard is preparing for something to do with a beta, or they might be getting something ready for BlizzCon. An early version of an expansion playable at BlizzCon would not be a new thing to happen, so we might see something solid about this next expansion sooner than we anticipated. Either way, I would fully expect this train to keep on schedule, November 21st for Antorus the Burning Throne, or maybe even a week earlier. I'm excited to see how things turn out, and the hype train is full speed ahead for BlizzCon. Seriously cannot wait for that. Hopefully in future years I'll actually be able to attend, now that I'm so close, but that's it for this video. If you have any questions or queries, please leave them in the comments section below and I'll get back to you as soon as possible, or hop on over to Discord. We have a server at discord.gg/Kelani, great place to come ask questions or just hang out. Remember to leave a like just below the video before you leave. If you want to see more, make sure to subscribe. But apart from that, thanks for watching folks, good luck and have fun, and as always I will see you next time.